Hello again, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Random Logging! So, today, first things first, 2 videos in one day. Oh my god, what's happening? Well, the last video I had, for those of you that have seen it, was basically a public service announcement because the shit going on right now needs to stop. If you haven't watched it, please go watch it. It's really, really long, but it makes a lot of really important points that we need to consider because right now the rhetoric that is going on just about everywhere is incredibly self-destructive and dangerous to a lot of people. So please go watch it. All right, enough of my little soapbox. I want to talk about Alpha. Alpha? What do you mean by Alpha? Well, for those of you that are on the Team Human Facebook page, I bet you it's up further, isn't it? I'm actually going to, there we go, super long AMA. There we go. So, for those of you who don't know, Legendary announced that they are going to Nerdist and Geek and Sundry, who are both owned by Legendary, are going to combine forces for this new paid subscription media service called Alpha. Kevin Ott, whom I think is their social media dude now, I've said this before, Geek and Sundry goes through social media managers like they're going out of style. Like it's a revolving door. I haven't seen anyone do the job for more than I think a year and a half. So that's always interesting. A lot of them leave for better jobs. So, I mean, technically that's a good thing. But, yeah. Anyway, so Alpha is this new subscription service that we know shit about. They announced it and basically said it's this super secret awesome thing that everyone's going to love, but we'll give you more details when we have them. That is 100% normal for business ventures in general. You want to create hype long before you launch whatever it is you're doing, whether that's a restaurant, whether that's a new app, anything like that. Hype is going to generate you day one sales, and the better your day one sales are, the better your stockholders feel, the more money you have to do things like pay salaries and things like that. Like sales always taper off. Like whenever something new comes out, there's always a surge in the beginning, and then they taper off to what their natural thing is. And once you get to that natural kind of equilibrium, that's when you can start modifying things in order to maximize profits and things like that. Until you get to that point, you actually don't have enough data to figure out what you're doing well and what you are doing poorly. This coming from someone who successfully run sales for, I think, 6 or 7 different stores, most of them multi-million-dollar stores. This is sales 101, folks. They're trying to generate hype, and one of the things that you see constantly when people do, when businesses do that, is they will announce nothing. They'll give you a name, or they'll say, stay tuned, something's going to happen, but they announce nothing. That creates a lot of interest in a product that doesn't technically exist at that point. That is normal. Today, they did an AMA type thing on the Facebook page where they answered a bunch of questions. And I would like to preface the rest of this video with, these are my opinions based on my own experiences in business. None of these are confirmed. I will tell you what I base my assumptions on and my predictions on. But none of this is official. None of this is real. This is just my thought process on this. So please don't go back to Geek and Sundry and tell them I said all these things that, you know, Alpha is, that it actually isn't. These are just my own predictions. So after reading through the AMA and looking at the buzzwords that they used and what they've said, and more importantly, what they didn't say, I am not looking forward to Alpha. And there's a number of reasons. I made a video earlier when I was talking about this Team Human tournament, Overwatch tournament that we're doing, that I wanted to, do stuff to be more inclusive, to create a community, because Geek and Sundry is no longer doing that. Because according to business talk, that's not profitable. Creating a community doesn't make you profit directly. It actually creates indirect profit, and I can argue that until I go horse in the throat. It's just, that's how it works. Creating a community is absolutely 100% a smart business venture. However, textbook business says no, don't do that. There's no value to it. So Geek and Sundry is no longer actively doing that. They're relying on us to do it, which is fine. We can do that. Alpha, according to them, is supposed to be a more interconnected way for them to form a better bond with their community. That is a marketing pitch. It has no basis in reality. It is a marketing pitch designed specifically to influence people like me, and to get people like me that are looking for a community to sign on. I know this because I've used that pitch before. What I want to, I'm going to see if I can actually find the quote that he had in here. All right, so this is a quote. One of the people in the AME asked, what are you hoping the community will get out of Alpha? And the response was very traditional PR stuff. But the thing I'd like to focus on is right here. So this is the middle of Kevin Ott's response. Again, it's taken slightly out of context, but I'll try to explain the contents. So again, they asked, what are the community going to get out of Alpha? He basically says, more content. We hope you guys are going to enjoy the fact that Alpha is going to give you more content. But this is the line that I want to focus on. So it'll be nice to have another avenue where we can expose people to the content we're proud of creating. And the nice thing about working with Nerdist and the whole Venn diagram thing I mentioned in my answer to some other questions here, I don't remember which one, shut up, I'm old and I get tired, is that we can share our content with Nerdist's audience and vice versa. So we're hoping it expands our audience to include even more cool, passionate people. He had spoken about in other questions, which are hard because he kind of jumped around the thing answering questions. It's hard to get timing in that. But he basically said the audiences of Geek and Sundry and Nerdist can be described by a Venn diagram with a relatively large overlap. A lot of people that watch Geek and Sundry also watch Nerdist because they're very similar theme. They actually target the same audience. If you want to use marketing speak, their target audience is the exact same. So by targeting the same audience, they generally tend to get a very similar crowd. The thought process that he's explaining here is they want the Venn diagram to have more overlap. They're looking, both companies are looking to expand their customer base. Again, very, very common business practice. Partner with another person that targets your market so that you can steal some of their customers and they can steal some of your customers. It is a win-win situation. With the fact that both these companies are technically competing with themselves, since they're both owned by Nerdist, or they're both owned by Legendary, it makes even more sense for them to combine their audiences and things like that. So that's the actual reason they are creating Alpha. I'm sure a lot of people believe that it's to create a more integrated community and to give there are ways to do that without charging people extra. And Legendary is making a shit ton of money right now. So it's not because they don't have the money. This is 100% a business venture that is designed to expand their core audience. That's all it is. Which is fine. I am all for the businesses that I enjoy, the products that they make, making more money, because that means they can hire more people, they can pay the people that work for them better, and overall quality will always rise. However, after seeing how they have treated the Twitch channel. For those of you that don't know, the Twitch channel creates programming from 4 to, what is it? I believe it's 9 or 10 Pacific time every night. So you're talking roughly 5 hours a day. A little bit more on certain days, like Monday. They have stuff that happens as early as like 3 or something like that. So you have 5 hours a day of content, 5 days a week. So it's about 20 hours, give or take extra stuff that they do. So it's probably closer to about maybe 23 hours a week. Okay, pretty cool. 23 hours a week of stuff. The people that make that are 3 behind-the-scenes guys that make 23 hours worth of content, and then they're rotating hosts, none of which work more than maybe 2 or 3 days a week. That is massively understaffed for a television studio, which is what they are. They're making live television. They're just broadcasting it on Twitch as opposed to a major television network. And were they on a major television network, I'm relatively certain there would be lawsuits, specifically because it's not fair that they have understaffed it so massively. 3 people to run cameras, soundboard, computers, everything like that is not doable, especially when you have a grand total of 3 people on your entire staff. That means no one can be sick, no one can come in late, no one can take vacations and things like that without a massive strike to productivity. So that's how they've treated the Twitch channel. And this is another very common thing you see in business. What they will do is they will launch something. I actually, when I worked at a well-known office supply store that I will not name, they launched tech support services, and I was actually in the #1 pilot store, and I ran the launch for that store. So I've launched new programs and things like that, and this is how it always happens. Before the launch, they put a lot of resources into this thing. During the launch, there will be a lot of scrutiny to make sure that they're doing everything correctly. Shortly after the launch, they throw it away like a bad habit. As long as the launch was successful, they will go, okay, that's done. Let's focus on something new, because ingenuity and creating new products and things like that makes you a hell of a lot more money than sustaining projects according to the business mythos. It doesn't, but that's how it works. And so what they do is they drop it like a bad habit, and then they move on to their next venture. And as soon as that thing launches and is successful, they drop it like a bad habit and they move on to their next business venture. And what eventually happens is the quality of the content slowly declines, or the quality of the product slowly declines, because there's no upkeep. No one is making sure the T's are being crossed and the I's are being dotted. There's no quality control anymore. It's just getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and less funds are going towards that thing to keep it up to date. It's a very, very common business practice. It's one of the reasons why retail stores in general are dying, because every time they come up with a good idea, they abandon it to try and find the next good idea. That is what I see with Alpha. They have the Twitch channel, which I've already discussed is making shit tons of money. Now, I have no idea what their operating costs are, but from my own experience in business, I know how much, especially since I've also created staffing models for theaters and things like that. I know exactly how much it costs to get a director. I know exactly how much it costs, how much hourly you're supposed to pay your lighting guys and your sound guys and all that. So I can pretty accurately come up with at least their payroll statistics, and their subs cover their payroll immensely, and that does not factor in paid promotion that they've been doing a lot of. That doesn't factor in their ad revenue. That doesn't factor in how much money the shows make once they go into YouTube and the ad revenue from that. It doesn't factor in all the money that they make when people watch the shows on their website. Like, there is literally shit tons of money that is being fueled from this Twitch channel into Legendary Entertainment itself, and they have abandoned it, quite simply. So I see Alpha as the next thing that they're going to try to push. They're making it more exclusive. They're going to... the remarkable thing, I remember reading at one point, he's like, no, if you're subscribed to the Twitch channel, you will get Alpha. And now the rhetoric is, well, we haven't quite decided what we're going to charge for Alpha, but it'll be in addition to what you pay for Twitch. And that's going to keep changing. Alpha is probably, if I had to take a guess, Alpha is going to cost somewhere between $7 to $10. That's a very common pricing model for this. If they can find a way to pitch it as premium content, which is a whole nother thing, but if they can find a way to make it seem like this is extra special, really, really, really good content, they might charge as much as $15. Again, this is based on pricing models of other very similar services. So that's what they're going to charge people. It's going to be in addition to the subs for Twitch, which is going to hurt the Twitch channel in general, because people are going to go, well, I don't get any extra content from being a Twitch sub, but I do get extra content from being an Alpha subscriber. So I'm going to stop supporting the Twitch channel. I'm going to do Alpha because I can still watch Twitch for free. So I think that's a massive mistake, but whatever. So that's what I'm seeing here. You've seen other companies doing it, like YouTube Red has premium content specifically for subscribers. Most of the people that have watched this premium content are not impressed with it, simply because, again, it's traditional media throwing money at something, thinking that they can make even more money by turning it into television or movies, because obviously traditional media so much higher quality, so much better than new media. So if we can take over new media, we can turn it into traditional media. That's the rhetoric that keeps going on and on and on and on and on. It's a dumb thing. So yeah, I personally think Alpha is another step in the profit-focused Geek and Sundry has become. And I don't think it's Geek and Sundry that's doing it. I will almost guarantee Legendary is making these decisions and forcing them on Geek and Sundry. When they were bought out by Legendary, Geek and Sundry gave up creative control. They gave up a lot to be purchased by Legendary, which was technically a good thing, because at that point Geek and Sundry couldn't support itself. They got formed by the YouTube channel initiative, and that disappeared. YouTube won't even acknowledge that it happened, because so few of the channels that they paid for were worth anything. There's basically Cartoon Hangover, who is it? Cartoon Hangover, Geek and Sundry, and there's like 2 or 3 more that still are making content. All the rest of them, they were just shit. They took the money and ran. So that's what I see as Alpha. It's more of this, let's see how much profit we can wring out of this target market. I don't think it's a step in the right direction. I think it's a step backwards, away from what Geek and Sundry originally was. I don't think the audience is going to enjoy it. I don't think Team Human is going to enjoy it. I think this is going to be something that's going to blow up in their faces. And it's going to turn out bad for all parties involved. Now, again, this is my personal opinion based on my very biased work experience. So take this with a grain of salt. Also, I have depression, anxiety, and PTSD. I tend to see things I tend to plan for bad things to happen. So again, take this all with a grain of salt. But my personal opinion on Alpha is this is just another attempt at Legendary, not Geek and Sundry, at Legendary to wring money out of their audience. And they're probably going to shortchange the people making content for Alpha just as badly as they've shortchanged the Twitch channel. And I think it's relatively obvious that the Twitch channel itself is, aside from Critical Role, which keeps getting bigger every single week, the rest of the Twitch channel is dying. I went there to see Game Together, which used to get 1,000 some odd viewers, maybe 2,000 on a good day. I think I've seen it as high as 4,000. They had 300 viewers. Everything is slowly dying because there's no investment in it from the parent company anymore. They're willing to just let Critical Role carry the Twitch channel and everything else to die. I think that's one of the reasons they did the beta test, is I think that's Lucas's attempt to revive the YouTube channel, and it's not working, which is sad because I think, or not the YouTube channel, the Twitch channel. I think the Twitch channel was a really cool idea. But even its inception was 100% profit motivated. You make more money from Twitch than you do from YouTube right now. It's just how it works. That's why everything appears on the website first, because they make more ad revenue from their website than they do from YouTube, and that's how it's always been. So, yeah, take it for what you will. This is just me doomsaying, but I think Alpha is going to crash and burn, and I think it's going to fracture the community, because there's going to be people that are going to defend it based on the idea that it's a necessary evil, and there are going to be people that fight against it, saying that no, this is monetization, this is corporate, this is corporate greed and stuff like that, and yeah, so that's my 2 cents. Whether or not you agree with me, entirely up to you. I could be 100% wrong. I hope beyond hope that I'm 100% wrong about this, because I really care about Geek and Sundry. They changed my life, and I don't want to see them turn into another G4. So yeah, that's all for me today. I'll see you guys tomorrow, all right? Bye-bye!